Good evening. Welcome to the Government News Brief for Tuesday, May 30, 2017. In the news this evening, Guyana stands to receive economic boost from oil and gas discovery, but standards must be improved. 13 childcare facilities in Region 2 licensed for the first time, and Lillian Bridge reopens to traffic. These and other stories when the news returns. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. I am Renetta LaFleur. Here are the details. Georgetown and Guyana will get an economic boost from the oil and gas sector, but standards must be improved. This is according to Minister of Natural Resources, Raphael Trotman.
The expansion of the oil and gas sector and resultant influx of expatriates and many others will result in greater economic benefits. This was emphasized by Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman as he gave an update on the sector to the Mayor of Georgetown and City Councillors. This is especially so, he notes, as indirect employment is created.
There is an often made mistake or misbelief which goes around that the oil industry only needs people to drill or to work in overalls, but you'll need accountants, you'll need lawyers, you'll need people to supply batteries and tires for vehicles. You will need caterers, laundry services, machine services, photocopying. So you can expect the entire Georgetown and the country, as a matter of fact, to receive a lift. With
increased economic activity, there will be a need for higher standards across Guyana, the minister says.
People will have to raise their standards. You can't just, go about offering food in the regular way. Because you're going to have people coming in. I mean, if you pass through the hotels now, you see a steady stream of expatriates coming and going. They will need to house their families when they come. Schools will be looked for, transportation, security. So we can expect that services and provision of goods throughout, the demand is going to increase.
The minister notes that only 4% of Trinidad and Tobago's population is directly employed in the oil and gas sector, but thousands more are benefiting indirectly. Government is putting mechanisms in place, he explains, to build local capacity and partnering with other ministries to make this a reality. City Hall, he says, will also benefit.
It is where the seat of government is, and it is the capital of the country, and therefore we have to work with you to lift standards throughout and provide training opportunities even for councillors and yourself, your worship, in the event that you need to find out some more about this resource.
The recent discovery of what has been described as the most significant oil find in the last decade just off Guyana's coast has prompted the government to put measures in place to ensure that Guyanese benefit as much as possible when expected production begins in 2020. Paul McAdam for the Government News Brief.
Thank you, Paul. For the first time in Guyana's history, several child care facilities in Essequibo Region 2 have been registered under the Ministry of Social Protection. Details in this story.
Minister of Social Protection Amna Ali at the licensing ceremony lauds the Child Care and Protection Agency initiative as another step by the government towards ensuring a better, safer and healthier environment for children.
Early childhood development is of central importance to our society and a key responsibility of government. We must be cognizant that learning brings at birth and the earliest years of a child's life is critical for building foundational cognitive skills.
Minister Ali congratulates the CPA for ensuring that the newly licensed facilities were able to fulfill their responsibilities. Executive Officer Early Childhood Development CPA Laverne Thorne says CPA is committed to actively raising the quality of life for every child.
It is our mission to ensure that the childcare facilities are achieving minimum standards and are offering quality care to our nation's children. Today is a historic day in Essequibo. Today, out of 18 facilities, we have 13 that are going to be registered. This is history. Congratulations.
Region 2 Chairman Devanand Ramdat notes that there are many issues and challenges that directly impact the lives of children in the region. He is grateful that their lives will now be transformed.
I most sincerely think that this is a very, very good initiative. Of course, it has to be sustained and then consolidated. I know, and I join with Minister in saying that having worked with Ms. Green as a colleague, very frank in her views, very aggressive in pushing for what she believes in.
The licensing ceremony was held at the region's Regional Democratic Council. Director for CPA Anne Green, Probation and Social Services Officer Wentworth Tanner, and other daycare facilities owners were also present.
After a slight delay, the Lillian Bridge has reopened to traffic. Gabriela Patram tells us more.
The Lillian Bridge reopened today, May 30th, 2017. This will bring relief to residents and motorists of the east coast of Demerara and improve the flow of traffic along the east coast corridor, especially during peak hours.
Motorists moving to and from the east coast of Demerara since the reopening of the Lillian Bridge, pedestrians are now catered for with walkways on both sides of the bridge. The bridge had shown signs of looming failure when several panels became detached, destabilizing the structure. Due to the closure of the bridge, there was enormous traffic congestion, especially during peak hours. Several motorists have expressed satisfaction with the repairs.
When this bridge is it break up, right? I used to go walk here, so when the rainfall, it used to mess up my bike and my skin and all kind of thing. But now it opened it better for me because I mean I nasty my skin so.
So far I see the bridge looks solid. It looks genuine now. So they say look, it'll last a very long time. But it takes a very long time too. Because it threw a lot of people out there using this road. But then it needs a lot of patching, and then you're okay.
The bridge look good. It look good. The only problem with me, I think it take too long to finish it.
We are very much grateful for that because we had some serious problem with the heavy flowing of traffic during the period when the bridge was under construction. So we're thankful for whoever is, is in charge of the...
Additionally, repairs to the bridge provided opportunities for civil engineers from the University of Guyana for work attachment.
It's very interesting and well, the experience, I've never been on a project like this, so it's very enlightening.
The bridge rehabilitation was carried out based on recommendations from the Demerara Harbour Bridge Corporation, the HBC inspection team, and engineers from the Ministry of Public Infrastructure.
Repairs to the bridge were done to the tune of $89 million, and repairs lasted approximately 3 months. For the Government News Brief, Gabriela Patram.
Some 400 residents of Cotunarib in Deep South Rupununi will benefit from a recently commissioned village project. Sanika Thorne has the details.
The $5 million village shop was recently commissioned by Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Sidney Alicock, who urged the residents to use the facility to market their local produce.
A place of supply was a very thoughtful one of you here because you could have a circulation center that will be able to bring stuff that you cannot make, and you could sell stuff that you can make. So it will not only, we don't want to only see things coming in here, but we want to see things going out. And I'm so happy that you are the biggest producers of nuts around these parts. It means that we have to look for that market. Somebody got to be the one who will take this forward. And probably this village council's shop is village council shop, right? Village shop. The village shop might be that body that will be able to move your stock to and fro.
The village shop is a community development project, CDP, which started in 2016 after the community received the first tranche of funding under the Amerindian Development Fund, ADF, for the implementation of the Phase 2 of the CDP. Minister Alicock commends the resident for realizing such a project and says that the ministry will be willing to support similar income-generating projects.
And the ministry is ready to support your ideas. You got to move it forward. You got to take it to the next level. You can't expect others to come and do your work. It is you. We could only support. So we'd like to keep that relationship. The government is behind your development, and let us have this community as a leading community in business.
Kutunurib is a small indigenous settlement in Region 9. It has a population of approximately 400, and its main economic activities are cash crop farming, cattle rearing, and traditional fishing and hunting. For the Government News Brief, Sinika Thorne reporting.
Thank you, Sinika. Ramadan is observed in the 9th month of the Islamic lunar calendar, which begins at the sighting of the new moon. Muslims all across the world are celebrating Ramadan, and Guyana is no different.
Muslims from the age of puberty are obligated to keep fast by abstaining from food and drink between dawn and sunset. President of the Islamic Trust, Sheikh Abdul Alim Ibrahim, says fasting has a much deeper meaning than people may think.
We are saying we're not just keeping away outwardly from food and drink and marital relations for those who are married, but at the same time we're fasting with all of our limbs. So with my eyes, I'm not looking at anything that I'm not supposed to look at. With my ears, I'm not listening to anything I'm not supposed to look at. I refrain from uttering any speech that will be displeasing to God. And likewise with all of my other limbs, I keep away from any disobedience to God Almighty.
The act of fasting redirects the heart from worldly activities and towards strengthening relations with God.
All of this is a form of worship. So I'm giving more charity, helping poor people. So doing all of these good things on the one hand and keeping away from all of these bad things on the other hand, for one whole month, it develops the level of piety and closeness of the person to God Almighty. So that's the goal behind the month of Ramadan.
Rahim has a message for all Guyanese who wish to have a closer relationship with God.
We need to understand that we have a purpose for which we have been created, and that is to serve God Almighty, to spread peace on the face of the earth, and we can only do so by submitting to God Almighty in the way that we've been created to do so. And so, if we return to God Almighty and reflect on this message, this is not just the message of Muhammad. As I said, it is the message of Moses, it is the message of Jesus, it is the message of Abraham, it is the message of all of these prophets to tell us, live a good life, be good human beings, and worship your God.
The end of Ramadan is marked by the sighting of the new moon, which is followed by a day of celebration, Eid ul-Fitr, or the festival of breaking fast. Namila Henry Rowe, Government News Brief.
Guyana is on the cusp of a major economic transformation, says Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin, as he delivered remarks as part of a Diaspora Direct event at Guyana's High Commission in London recently in celebration of Guyana's 51st independence anniversary. This transformation aims to provide opportunities for the socio-economic advancement of its people. Minister Gaskin spoke of the challenge of organizing the diaspora community and managing its expectations, the realities of governing, and the advances of the government on several fronts. He also offered condolences on the recent Manchester terror attack in Britain. The minister acknowledged that Guyanese who live in the United Kingdom have a lot to offer to Guyana. He highlighted that the government has developed a diaspora engagement strategy aimed at ensuring that Guyanese outside of Guyana have an opportunity to contribute to the development of Guyana. We have come to the end of today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on GINA's website. GINA has an active Facebook page, and we encourage you to visit and like us so you can be informed as the news unfolds. Do join us tomorrow for another edition of the Government News Brief. I am Renetta LaFleur. Have a great evening.